Patreon and help us support communities in need.
Babies like camping?
Babies like camping? What kind of a question is that? What does that even mean?
Because our wedding's like a camping weekend. People are bringing infants.
There's going to be a couple infants there.
Not just babies, infants. Like,
Still
can't
dripping.
even open their eyes yet.
Yeah, they're going to be really young.
That's gonna be really weird. I guess I'm just thinking hot weekend. It's probably bad for an infant.
No, babies are fine for camping. And then when they're really, really small, they just sleep anyway.
Yeah?
Yeah. You feed them, they go right back to sleep.
Right on.
Yeah.
Someone's always gonna be carrying a baby strapped to them now.
Toddlers are worse because those little buggers can move fast. They run around. They fall in. Their heads are really heavy. They fall over a lot into things. They fall
They're
into,
unstable.
They fall into fire pits and fall into water and yeah.
Hi, Doc. Hey, Beauty.
Alright, so I wanted to show you guys a little bit of a dilemma that I was working on. I just replaced this here, so we got a new rope clutch here on the mast. It is the Spinlock XAS model. And before I lost daylight yesterday, I tried to put some heat shrink on there in an effort to get it to fit through. As you can see here, it won't fit through. Of course, this is the wrong direction. It's got to come through. It's got to come through from the top down. But I'm going to walk you guys through sort of my methodology for seeing how to get this thing through the rope clutch. All right. So part of the problem that I was having is that the rope has been mounted on the end, right, to stop it from fraying. So what I'm going to do is take off my heat shrink tube and just cut that end off, and I'll show you the next step in a second. So now that I've cut the end off, it immediately wants to fray on you, right? So what I'm going to do is slide back the sheath a little bit, okay? And I'm going to take out a little bit of the core of this, because the idea is I want the sheath to be able to be bound up small enough that I can pull it through, and then that way I'll be able to pull the rest of the core through as well. So I'm going to cut off a little bit of the core here. I mean, this probably isn't the most best way to do this, the rightest way to do this. If I had some proper thread and such, then I'd probably want to use some thread, but see, this way now I can take this piece of the sheath of the rope and get this pulled down nice and snug. Okay, so I've got myself a little piece of shrink tube. If you don't have any of this stuff, it's pretty much a godsend. So I'm going to fit the shrink tube over the end of this line, which can be a little bit fussy. And again, the whole idea here is that is to just taper the end of this line down enough so that it will come through the hole in the rope clutch. Heat gun. These are the essentials, the must-haves on board. So you can see here, apply heat directly to the shrink tube, and the shrink tube's gonna get real nice and tight on the end of this line. That should probably do. Protection, I'm just gonna mount the end again so it doesn't pull apart and fray while I'm doing this. So there you go, got a nice tapered end. Let's see if that goes through this time and we can actually get our halyard back in action. So you'll often run into this problem when you're trying to get lines back through blocks and such, where, okay, so if the taper end goes in and fits, but then it starts to bunch up here. It's like a Chinese finger trap. So you can't push these things through. So I'll show you how we address that to get these things through blocks. So if you can't push something through, then you can pull it through. So I've fed this through the top
a small thread or a small piece of cord through the top of the clutch, and it comes out through the bottom. So you just feed this all the way through until you get to the end of this, and then we're going to tie the end of this cord to our halyard. I like to tie a hitch knot like this, so when you snug it up and you're pulling on it, you'll pull the hitch tighter on the end of the line and grab onto it. You'll get good purchase and pull it through the block. So I can take a little bit of finagling, right? So I had to wiggle it around because you can see in there, you get that rope or the knot there attached to the line that has to come through as well. So it could take a little bit of wiggling and jerking it around. But now, instead of trying to push it through, I can pull this down through while helping feed it through from the top. And I'll have to finagle it through the bottom here again as well. But at least now I can get it through the block and work its way down through. Okay, so after a minute or so of fucking around, I've been able to pull it down and get it to this point, right? So I'm pulling on this. So now it's a matter of getting that knot worked through the bottom of the block, right? But at least we're darn near there, right? So, you know, through edits, I'm editing and cutting it, but it takes some messing around. It's not as easy as it would first appear, but you know, you just got to keep grinding and grinding until you get these things done. But it's coming through. We'll catch up with you in a minute after I work this knot through the bottom. And there you have it. So I managed to get it through. Now it's pulling through cleanly. I mean, this line's probably, the halyard's a little too big for the block, but I mean, once it's in there, it's in there. She's snug now, so. Oh, and one other thing too, when you get these things through your blocks, put a damn eight knot in there, or any kind of knot, but I like 8 knots. Put an 8th knot in that so it can't go back through the block, and then you got to do this all over again. So now we're done, we've got this through, tie a knot. All right, if you're not sure how to tie an 8 knot, you put a loop in it, okay? Put a loop in it, bring the line around, see that? So it's almost like an and sign that you write. Let's basically take it, cross it, put a loop in it, and then put the end up through there. Okay, and that's how you get your figure 8 knot. So yeah, we're working on our theme song. We're working on the theme song, man. It's gonna be Rastafarian, man.
It's gonna be sweet, y'all.
It's gonna be Ari. It's gonna be Ari. That was more like 2000s-ish.
Was it?
Yeah.
More like, I don't even, the O's.
It was in
That was so O's.
the double O
The
holes.
double O's. What even was the 2000s? No one can classify it for me. Everything's always like 80s, 90s, 2010s.
Yeah.
Kind of, maybe.
It was the worst of times, and it was the worst of times.
This whole of times.
It was the whole of times. Here you go. It's the double holes of all time. Bride in Victoria. Using this beautiful sail bag here. So I'm gonna get this all connected, and I'll show you how she looks when we get her up on the furler. So just got to thinking, before I put this on, you want your line to be all furled on the spool there on the furler, because you put the sail up, and then you want the line to furl the sail in. So this being a bigger sail, I'm going to take the precaution of winding on some more of the line for the furler onto the drum before I put the sail on, because I'll go to furl it up and there'll still be a tail sticking out and I'll have run out of line. So just thinking ahead a little bit before I get ahead of myself. Okay, I've now got this mess of a sail going on. I've got it started in the feeder there, and it's all kind of crumpled up on my deck, so I'm gonna see if I can slowly coax it up. So far so good. It looks good. Looks like a great sail. If anyone struggling to get raise their sail on their own here, single-handed, when you don't have anybody to help you, Nice thing is that Leach and McBride put it right in the bag, so it's supposed to basically just unfold as you pull it up. But I pulled the leech of the sail, or the luff of the sail rather, all the way up, as much up as I can, right up to in front of the, right below the feeder. So it's feeding in there, and it can just pull itself up and basically just flake off the board. So this kind of flakes the sail up here, so just pull straight up as much as possible and just keep unfolding as it comes along there. So a little trick that might make it easier for anyone trying to raise one of these on their own. Anybody? Brand new sail. It's pretty exciting, huh? And you see while I'm winching it up, I stop and have a look at it to make sure that it's flaking nice, like it's nice and straight, going vertically up into the feeder, so I'm not tearing the piping out of the sail. So far so good. She's almost all the way up. Ah, it's impressive. It's a big sail. Yes, Snow White. All right, we is installed. Up, beautiful looking. Big old Genoa. I think we went 140% on this. It's massive. It's massive. It's beautiful. I can't wait to get out there and see how many more knots we've added on. Thanks, Paul. Thanks everyone at Leach and McBride. Looks awesome.
What was that? That one site where you could have like a me page and do stuff, but
MSN was still, like, you had your MSN
you still
chat profiles,
messenger
messengers.
people?
Yeah, I remember the messengers.
I remember
Yeah.
that. It was MySpace. That's what remember? My friend once had a MySpace page.
Remember MySpace?
I didn't even go on MySpace. I was like, this is boring.
Remember writing your friends? Remember MySpace? I remember.
Yeah, I feel old now.
It was the worst of times, and it was the worst of times.
Weird. Yeah, that's gonna be super weird for kids today learning about that in a book later.
The kids these days, they don't learn from books.
Oh, that's true. Maybe digital book? Tablets.
Tablets, yeah.
They'll learn about it from tablets.
You
That
used to
is-
have to physically turn a page made from a tree. How ridiculous does that sound?
Sounds pretty fucked up.
Now you can just say, Siri, next page, please. Thank you, Siri.
It's so Star Trek, though.
Yeah.
Computer, collate all this information with this information and turn it into an essay for me to hand in. Like, that's cool.
And your teacher would be like, that was very resourceful, Bobby. You get a B+.
B plus.